What's up, people of YouTube? I'm Jay, and in this video I am going to be giving you my take on the Cooler Master HAF 932 Advanced. Now this is a full-size tower. The HAF part of it stands for high airflow, and it is a beast of a case. I'm going to try to do this limited space, but hopefully you get the idea mostly. So we can see, looking at the side here, first thing we have is this small window up top. It is tinted, so you can't really see too much into it, but I don't know, it's there, backlighted or something, it could look cool. So part of what makes this the high airflow case, as you can see, is this very open design. There's a bunch of little holes here, so it allows for a lot of airflow. And you can see this on the side, on the front, on the top, on the back. The only place that it doesn't really exist is on the other side, but you do have these kind of like slots that are here on the reverse side as well. So it allows for a lot of airflow throughout the case. So I guess continuing with the whole high airflow thing, this case does come with a bunch of fans. It actually has 3 230mm fans, one on the side, one on the top, and one on the front. The fan on the front is kind of like a clear plastic, and it glows red. And finally, the case comes with one 140mm fan on the back. So this case does use thumb screws to open up the panels, which is nice. However, they are not captive thumb screws, so you do have to hold on to them, find somewhere to put them. Another thing with the side panels, these things are like, this is solid. There is no flex to this. I mean, really, like, this whole case, just really heavy construction. It's very well built, very solid, very heavy case. Yeah, so you can find most of the specs for this thing online. It does have a bunch of 5¼ inch, just kind of like, I don't even know how these things work, but like quick release drive bays for 5¼ inch drives. There are 5 of them, and it comes with a little 3.5 like floppy. Comes with like a little floppy drive size adapter tray. There are also 5 3.5 inch sleds, easily removable. 2 of them come with little adapters for 2.5 inch drive bays, so your solid state drives, or you can use all 5 for a 3.5 inch drive, and they are a flexible plastic, and they have these little dampening grommets with pins here to secure the hard drives. Let's see, I don't know how well we can see on the inside here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Hopefully that is that gonna focus for me. So looking on the inside here, we can see that there are, right here, there are pass-throughs for cables. However, the case does not come with grommets. And one of my kind of gripes with the motherboard cutout here is that it's really small. So if you need a fan, if you're using a cooler, a CPU cooler that requires the back plate, it's kind of difficult to get tightened down. One of the negatives about this case is that there are no filters. It's completely open, and that means that it gets a lot of dust. Another thing worth noting is that this case was built with water cooling in mind, at least a little bit. So there is a spot at the bottom that could fit a 120mm radiator. I don't think it would go up to, I don't think it would fit a 140 as well as the power supply. Could probably fit another 120 at the back instead of the case fan. There's also room at the top, and I guess if you wanted to leave the stock fan in here, there are a couple little grommets at the back where you could pass hoses through and sit a radiator up top there. And on the top we have a cutout with a rubber cover exposing a fill port for a reservoir. Again, showing just how water cooling oriented this case really is. On the front I/O panel we have 4 USB 2.0 ports, a FireWire port, an eSATA port, as well as the standard headphone and microphone jacks, and a power and hard drive activity indicator LEDs. And finally, in the middle of the front of the case are two USB 3.0 ports. You can see that these are a little dusty. They do hold dust, so that's kind of a negative. But this case does hold 7 expansion slots, and they are actually like a quick release. So if we show you here, just pop that out. Of course that falls. But you can just, snap those out, slide your card in, snap these back in place, and you're done. No need to use screws. However, one of the negatives about doing this is you're not able to lift your graphics card up and tighten down the screw, and it doesn't have a completely tight fit. So there can be a little bit of graphics card sag. So now the back side of the case, you can see it's got this little design thingy here. Here are the little slots for some airflow, and this is kind of extruded a little bit to allow for some cable management. Because when we open the back up and drop, see, that's what I don't like about the non-captive thumb screws, is I drop them all the time. So here we have the back. There's like a finger width of room between the motherboard plate and the sides of the case. More dust. There are plenty of little tie-off points, but there aren't any channels. So this case was designed a little bit longer ago. I've had it for, I think, 3 years now. So before the real kind of cable management revolution hit. So that's why there's this little extrusion part here to allow you to fit some cables back there. Really, it's still not quite enough, but, well, yeah. I mean, it's really not quite enough. I've had to, there have been plenty of times where I really have to, cram cram this shut, just squeeze it, hold it in, it might bulge out a little bit, and kind of force the screws on here. Another thing worth noting is that there aren't any handles anywhere on this case. So if you want to move it around a lot, it's going to be fairly difficult. And you're even going to want to reach under the front here, because there's kind of seems to be a handle, and then you pop out this piece. So it's kind of a pain, but you can deal. It's not a huge deal. There are a couple things that, I've moved several times throughout the last few years. So there are a couple things that got lost from this case that I never really used. One of which was a shroud, a GPU shroud, so that you can direct airflow over your GPU. That's a nice plus with this case. Another thing there are some small caster feet that you can replace with the standard feet on the bottom so that you can roll the case around if you want to.